Okay, well,
I didn't just drive by and see you.
yeah.
It's a call for service because somebody's called in, reported your videotaping, photographing people leaving the base. Is what they said.
That's what they called in and reported?
Yeah.
The photographing and videotaping?
It's suspicious activity.
Is it unlawful activity?
It may not be unlawful, but it's highly suspicious. Suspicious enough for me to write a report with all your information in it.
Okay.
So, you have an ID?
I have an ID in my car.
In this one?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to grab it?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I'd rather not ID.
So you're refusing to ID yourself?
Am I being detained or anything?
You're getting ready to be.
I mean, am I suspected of criminal activity?
Listen, we can do this one or two ways, brother.
Hello, and welcome back to Legal Dissent, where we evaluate your constitutional rights before they're taken away. Thank you all so much for the well wishes and concern, but my cold is almost gone, and I do apologize if I still sound a bit off, but we are making it through. Again, as a new channel, we're trying to make an impact in the YouTube stratosphere, and every like, comment, and subscription really helps us in the algorithm. So make sure to help spread our message of accountability throughout the country by interacting on this video with likes, comments, and subscriptions. Today, we evaluate an audit conducted by Honor Your Oath Civil Rights Investigations that he conducted in February of 2019. As always, the link to the original video, the channel, case law, and statutes are all located in the description below. Honor Your Oath is filming from a public right-of-way at the Mayport Naval Station in Jacksonville, Florida, as he is approached by Officer Brian Ranking of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
Brian Rankin, JSO.
Nice to meet you, sir.
What's going on?
Just getting some photographs out here today.
You really understand this is a military base?
Yes, sir. That's why I'm out here to get photographs of the military base.
So, you don't think that's rather odd?
No.
Really?
No, they're having the. I heard on the radio they're doing the base security operations this week. I think that's why Channel 4 News is out here as well.
Okay. Are you with the news?
I am. Yeah, I'm with Pinac News.
Who are you with?
Pinac. P-I-N-A-C, Pinac News.
Do you have any credentials that associate you with them?
Not on me, no.
Usually people with the media have all their credentials on them when they're working.
Right.
So, are you working?
I'm just getting photographs, yeah.
I'm just getting photographs, not answering my question, sir.
As we have discussed before, there are three types of police-citizen encounters. Currently, Honor Your Oath has not been detained or arrested, which makes this a consensual conversation that either party is able to engage or disengage at any time. The officer's badge does not grant him the authority to demand answers to his questions, and the auditor is correct in not saying more than what he has already stated.
Okay, well.
I didn't just drive by and see you.
Yeah.
It's a call for service because somebody's called in, reported your videotaping, photographing people leaving the base. Is what they said.
That's what they called in and reported?
Yeah.
The photographing and videotaping?
It's suspicious activity.
Is it unlawful activity?
It may not be unlawful, but it's highly suspicious.
The officer admits that he is investigating because of a call informing him that the auditor was taking pictures and videos of the base and people leaving and entering the base. Recording in public has been well established to be protected by the First and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution. In ACLU versus Alvarez, a case decided by the 7th Circuit Court of Appeals and denied cert by the United States Supreme Court, held that areas that are observable by the public have no reasonable expectation of privacy and therefore are able to be audio and video recorded. Further, in Musumeci versus United States Department of Homeland Security, the case was settled and it was established that it is not illegal to film federally owned property from public property. Federal buildings have zero expectation of privacy to what the public can witness with their own eyes from public property. Therefore, the officer has no reasonable articulable suspicion that the auditor is involved in criminal activity because the report only informed him of the auditor conducting legal activities. Therefore, theoretically, this is the equivalent of a police dispatcher receiving a phone call reporting that someone is walking their dog or reading a book under a tree. All perfectly legal.
Suspicious enough for me to write a report with all your information in it.
Okay.
So, you have an ID?
I have an ID in my car.
In this one?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to grab it?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I'd rather not ID.
So you're refusing to ID yourself?
Am I being detained or anything?
You're getting ready to be.
I mean, am I suspected of criminal activity?
Listen, We can do this one or two ways, brother.
The officer is highly unprofessional in this situation. In Florida, failure to ID is governed by two different Florida statutes. Florida Statute 901.151, the Stop and Frisk Law, basically restates what the United States Supreme Court held in Terry v. Ohio. Mainly that an officer is able to temporarily detain a person if the officer believes that the person had committed, was committing, or is about to commit a criminal offense. Further, in Section 4, officers are required to release, after a reasonable amount of time, anyone that they do not have probable cause for committing a crime. The next statute is 901.36, which merely criminalizes the act of giving a fictitious name to the police. Neither of these statutes criminalize the act of refusing to give ID to an officer unless you have been lawfully detained or arrested. Therefore, Honor Your Oath has no legal obligation to identify to the officer.
You've been with the media long enough to know we don't mess around with this kind of stuff, especially you're taking pictures of a Navy base or a Coast Guard base. It's a federal facility right here. You're actually standing on federal property.
No, I'm standing on public property.
You're actually on an easement. This is a federal...
Over there.
The officer admits that he is on an easement. An easement is land that is specifically designed for the purpose of granting the public the right to travel through or across. Therefore, it is public property, and the auditor has every right to be there.
There's
right
federal.
here.
I'm on the public right-of-way, where the bus stop is.
You're on a public right-of-way,
right
adjacent to federal property. So you really don't want to identify yourself.
Well, I mean, am I being detained or anything?
You will be.
Well, I mean, if I will be, that means I'm not being detained, so.
You're not right now, but I'm trying to give you the opportunity to do the right thing. Again, I didn't just drive by and see you and now I'm going to stop and mess with you. Okay, I have a lawful reason to be here, have a lawful reason to ask you any questions because of what you're doing.
And I have a lawful right not to answer any questions, right?
Absolutely amazing job here by the auditor. Yes, the officer is legally allowed to ask questions, and yes, the auditor is legally allowed to decline to answer those questions.
So this gentleman's here, says he's with the media.
You know what? I got my business card. Can I give you my business card?
No, you're not going toward anywhere now. You've already refused to identify yourself. Why are you going to give me a business card? Why not give me your ID?
Well, because I'd rather not ID. I got my business card.
Well,
honestly, this really irks me when officers act like giving them your ID and full name is not a big deal, yet they never would ever give you their home address and other identifying information to random strangers. Not to mention that, as the officer mentioned before, this is suspicious enough to get put into a report with all of the auditor's identification information. Why would the officer highlight this but to let us in on what they do with what they consider to be troublemakers? This leads me to believe that they conduct a policy of retaliation against individuals who exercise their rights.
well, it doesn't work that way.
Well, how does it work?
I'm here for a lawful reason. I'm asking you for your ID.
But you've already affirmed that I'm not committing any crime. I'm not suspected of any criminal activity.
Well, we'll see.
Failing to give us your ID is a crime.
Um,
It's called resisting without violence.
no, it's not.
That is a state statute, sir.
No, it's not.
Do you want to go to jail on something like that?
No, sir, I don't want to go to jail.
Okay, well, what, I
Don't be
mean,
This is either a blatant lie designed to intimidate the auditor into caving and identifying himself, or a gross misunderstanding of the statute in Florida. The law referred to by the second officer is Florida Code 843.02, which defines what constitutes resisting an officer without violence. It's a broad statute designed to criminalize anyone who resists, obstructs, or opposes officers acting in a lawful manner from performing the lawful execution of any legal duty. However, the claim that refusing to identify to an officer rises to the level of resisting is absolute hogwash. The Florida First District Court of Appeals held in MM versus State that the refusal to identify does not constitute obstruction or resistance, and they reversed the conviction of a minor who refused to give his name to an officer. Therefore, this officer is completely wrong, and the auditor is not violating any laws for refusing to identify.
Smart ass, all right?
Oh, what's your name and badge number?
That's my name.
What's your badge number?
63433.
And how do you pronounce your name?
Read it.
I can't.
Why are you being a smart ass?
How am I being a smartass?
Huh? This is the guy that goes around doing stuff like this.
I don't know.
How am I being a smartass?
I've never met him before, so I don't know.
Well, okay, since you guys, am I being detained? I've asked you that multiple times. You say I'm about to be. Either I'm being detained or I'm not.
Actually, you are being
you're
detained
being
right
detained
now.
right now.
You're not
Okay.
free to leave.
Since I'm being detained, and you say you're conducting an investigation,
Yes.
I'm invoking my right to remain silent. I'm
Okay.
invoking my right to have an attorney present during questions. At this point, you can direct all your questions to my attorney.
Okay.
I'm not answering any more questions. I've told you who I am. My name is Jeff. Told you I work for Pennac News Services, and I'm gathering content for a story.
You got
Okay.
a phone number for that news service?
Yeah.
If you're a news service, then you should know that you work with
That's
the
what
cops.
I told him.
You just cooperate with us and everything.
I have cooperated. That's
Just cooperate with us and it'll be okay. Absolutely not. This is not how it works in the United States of America. We are not legally required to give up personal information to the government whenever they ask without just cause. This is why people take their cameras and give law enforcement a hard time because of attitudes like this.
like I said. I can give you my my business card if you'll let me get it out of the car.
ID.
I don't really want you going to your car now, because you've already shown me that you don't really want to cooperate with me. So the last thing I want you to do is go to your vehicle and grab something. You feel me? I mean, from my standpoint, it's an officer safety issue. If you're gonna tell me no, I don't have to identify myself, which you do, then
I don't have to identify
I'm not gonna
myself
let
unless
you
I'm
go to your
suspected of a
car
crime.
and get something.
And I have identified myself. My name
you
is
are
Jeff.
doing suspicious activity.
A suspicious activity, a misdemeanor, or a felony.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Is it?
Again, this is absolutely infuriating. The officers are under the assumption that citizens have to identify themselves all the time. Officers think that suspicious activity constitutes a crime and that it does not matter. It does matter. Laws matter. Training matters. Respect of our rights matters.
Is it a crime? Is it a crime to take photographs? That's what you said you got a call about. Taking photographs and videotaping.
We'll find out.
It's a crime that you're not giving us your identity.
You have to have a reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime is
We already
afoot.
have it.
What's your reasonable articulable suspicion
You
that a
got a
crime?
call about a guy doing what you're doing.
Videotaping and taking photographs?
Yeah.
Yep.
On a
So-
military installation.
I'm not on a military
But
institution.
you were taking
Of-
one
of
of
it.
a military.
Of a military. So you guys are saying that's a criminal offense?
Yeah. It's not a criminal offense, but it's a suspicious activity that we can investigate.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the right to question you.
Well, I would say that taking photographs and videos of
Say it all you want. I'm just telling
of a
you what
military
we-
installation is
I'm just
a
telling you what we.
okay. Well, let me
operate
say what I'm saying. Taking photographs and video recording a military installation or a federal installation from public property is not only a lawful activity, it's constitutionally protected activity.
Witness the disrespect by the officer who isn't even paying attention to what the auditor is saying. Here, the auditor is taking his time to try his best in a calm and collected manner to explain to the officers what the law is and why he's there. They go back and forth for several more minutes until finally the officers hear back from their supervisor.
Okay, you're free to go.
All right, thank you guys. Be safe out there.
Thank you. Have a good day.
After all of the threats and assertions that he was violating law after law for refusing to bow down to the officer's wishes and ID himself, the officers left empty-handed and were forced to let the auditor be on his way. This was really well done by Honor Your Oath. Make sure to head over to his channel and let him know that Legal Dissent sent you. The officers were wrong and unprofessional. Hopefully they learned from this encounter and have become educated on the rights of the community that they have sworn to protect hold in this country. What do you all think? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time right here on Legal Dissent.